Hello and weekend. Yeah, it's a weekend coming up. Welcome was the word I was planning on using. I'm not going to push the stop button and redo it because even though usually when I make like a blunder like that in the first 2 seconds, easily because of short time into the video, I'll just redo it. No, this video will contain Bitcoin charts. I'm going to take a quick look at some altcoins. Bitcoin Cash is making a nice little jump right now, and we'll take a look at some other ones because on the single hour term time frame, Bitcoin is looking to resume that of the uptrend. All bets trades of the like within each's own risk and reward. I'm also going to talk about my two altcoin trading strategy. Try to go over a few points, explain them a little differently, and just go over why to me it is just a fantastic trading system. XYZ we're going to talk about and how profitable that can be. But until then, let's first take a look at a few charts. If you want to fast forward to then, just fast forward to the time when you see my green background, and that's when I'm going to start that. And then the charts, of course, until then. So on the single hour term, we can see how this thing really had a nice get going move in here. It broke out of the 18 way back here. After the down move, it attempted to go higher, break out, but nope, back to the 18. Attempting again here, nope, breaking down. Not even real attempt here, but stayed at the 18 highs for a while. And then the breakout here, well, of course, this one came into play. And from the breakout, supporting the highs, supporting the lows, and then breaking out above, but back into the band. And this is an interesting thing here because the two candles like this in itself, when you have a very good green one like this and a red one that basically gives it all back, and it goes deeper than where you'd want it to, and we can see that the previous level of resistance area, considering it only got here, I mean, yeah, I mean, down to like 5320 to like 5300 even, yet it went to 5288, so it pierced extra 12, and even then you would have been hoping for like 5304. But either way, this was fully read down to the lows, and then it paused it for a few weeks in the 18, but sellers never came in. So here we can see after not coming in that this move here follows with what's 2 periods, 3 periods. Now there's 3 periods on the highs. This one, well, fourth on the highs, but it's doing a little bit different. It looks like it's attempting to break out. Not so much there, but still correcting, and well, correcting for two more. And there we have it. Get another attempt in the breakout. This one we can say, yeah, we're doing it. We're breaking out. Correcting on the band, correcting on the band, and there we just have a lot of support over and over. This is markets grinding higher. A little bit of a price correction here, but resuming the trend. No, it's not resuming the trend because the uptrend changes at this point because it's going up at a much higher rate of ascent. If you're to draw a trend line, and I'm not going to do it, then the obvious point is that the trend line broke to the upside. And thus, after the higher volatility, we come back down to this 18 lows in today's session. It then rallies to the high, stays within it for practically the entire day. But this hour has just made that statement for what is resumption, not reversal, resumption of trend. For you have your move, you correct to the 18. If you do see it doing so successfully, which is so far the case, and you see it leaving the highs to the upside, well, it's the attempt in doing so. Meanwhile, the whole time this has been going on, as I mentioned in my video earlier today and other ones, 18 of strength was showing signs here. It endured the Bitfinex and Tether news where it went down for a couple of days, but it never went down any further. It has thus resumed the situation, and that's where I'm looking for price action to have a move to the pierce above usually the next key Fibonacci number at 6342. It has not been able to come back to this band via price or time, but this is where you just got to use logic. You have a big green candle that leaves the 18 after it had an impressive like 5-6 grinding its way higher with pretty much all green candles but of low rates of gain each time. And then you have a monstrous gain which gets you well above the 18, of course also getting above fib and staying above and holding above fib and not even touching the fib line. Three periods going sideways, just pause periods, just not doing much. When you do so after a gain like this, sellers never came in. Of course, buyers never did until it's looking like that's the case now. And in doing such, shorts will get trapped. Buyers will see, hey, the bull market's in run, and yeah, the next target, which is pretty much I was looking for a break before here. It's just been a good 1 month wait. So I would have been expecting there was a better chance after this move that we would have had a next following green candle to that point than what we had instead. But you know what? Markets do what they do, and I'm just always going to adjust to whatever the situation presents myself. And with that, because the market has obviously been rallying for the last 20 hours. And this is a great time to happen because now I'm going to see what the updated percentage losses and gains are. Like Litecoin's up to 81, up 2.9%. This is in the last 50 minutes. So this is cool stuff. This is cool stuff. The Bitfinex we can see is 6105. So it's already there. I'm going to predict that the Bitfinex will reach 6,500 before the Coinbase will, obviously, because Tether, people are getting out of that and they're just not trusting it as much. They're not backed by the full amount, but I'm not there to talk about that. I don't trade the Tether. LITECOIN is down. Vertcoin, I'm looking to buy that, but I last bought at 8,000, so I still got a decent ways to go. Komodo's down, but not enough to trigger a ratio trade against my Litecoin, which is what I'm doing. Theta is down 60.25. DGB, I still haven't sold my Bitcoin Cash, although I got a sell order in. It's pretty close. Um, Theta 16.25 down 3% in the last little bit. Florin at 16.88 down a bit. What is up? Litecoin against Ethereum. Bitcoin Cash is up 3.3%. So this is Bittrex. That just happened fast. Let me put in Bittrex against Poloniex. And it was 11 confirmations for me to send them there. It took near about 2 hours or more. Okay, that's the wrong one. I don't know what I pushed there. It took about 2 hours to send it. So maybe next time I'll try Bittrex, and if I have to, Binance, to see if I can get a better price. After I seen this just recently, I thought, you know what, for now I'll just put an order at 529. I got so many directions I can do. It's pretty much what it's at now. I get the better rate percentage of 0.08% compared to 0.2%, which is a little bit better. It was already profitable, or at the time where I should have, down towards this area here. And of course, DGB is down a couple basis points since I've been doing it. So the ratio's a good 4% higher already, 5% than where I'm looking to go. Now, interestingly though, but when you look at this on a more longer term time frame, I got no choice. It's all about the game and how you play it. I've just removed my sell order, and I'm going to put a new one in. I'm going to use mathematics to figure out that number. 52, 12.8 is the high. I'm looking for a number like that, 52.12.8. I'm going to divide that by a higher low correctionary move. And that higher low correctionary move is this low here. It's in at 4715.6. The up target is 55.46. It usually pierces extra. I'm thinking 55 high change is where I put my sell order in. Play it for the rest of the night, but I have to decide before I go to bed, do I just keep my order there in? I mean, the risk that I have is that it goes up and DGB goes up like 40% in a day, but it is a nice little strong pattern because I like how you have this little hit level here, this little hit level here, this little level hit here, and then you have 3 periods just hanging in there with the 18 highs, and it's leaving it within this 4 hour. That to me is a strong pattern. I think it's going to have a significant move above it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, Mathematics is mathematics, and usually when you break a key level, this is a 3x hit level at the 519 or so handle, 519 and change. Then a significant break. Again, I'd be thinking right here, you got the 550 number that just makes sense there. On the daily time frame, I'd be looking here for like a Fibonacci number around the 570 handle, and even on 570, that would still be lower than this here. So I could even go for more. But it does look as if maybe it's ready to have a move and get above this 18 average of highs, and thus a higher low rally from this point. So another way of doing Fibonacci upside is from this key breakout low, or we got from this high. So you take the high of, and we'll calculate while we're here. We got 6650, and we got that same higher low, so 4715.6 and 6650. High divided by low to the root of the up target, 1.618. Multiply the low of 4715 again. The target rounded is at 8,224 Satoshi, which would be just roughly around here. Nothing, no big whoop. Uh, all right then. So let's just take a quick look at Litecoin and then move on to the trading strategy. Litecoin against ETH near the zero point 0.5 number has been for quite some time now. But holding in there relatively well. Litecoin against the dollar up to 81, continuing to have its move against over the 18 average of highs. And now close to the 0.014 handle on the Bitcoin cross, as its daily chart after a 3-time hitting key Fibonacci has not hit this level here, but it's got like Bitcoin Cash has had a 3x level area. They're getting above this area. I would expect it to well pierce above this, maybe even make a move to that 16 too. But whenever I see a situation where a key level hasn't really been close and it's in this spot and it's not that far away to where resistance is, I can't give it any credit for a level I would call for a breakout. I'd have to go noticeably higher, and the obvious place is this extra place where it came from. The lower end is 150. It's a psychological number as well too. Deeper into it is 155, and then the Fibonacci is 162. All right then. So let's talk about my strategy. And you get situations where coins go up, coins go down. And there's going to be times where coins have significant moves. So to me, this is a realistic situation of just something that could happen. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it is. But these moves, from time to time, are not only not impossible, but should happen. Again, from time to time. Let's just assume that today you're doing your trade and you're trading these two together. Theta 1663 and GRS is 6553. If the ratio is 3.94, then what happens if the next day, like Theta has like a 3x move? And it's not like it hasn't done it before, because it has. It might not hold it, but if you're there for it and you see it, you can make the trade. And then GRS just has a whatever day, barely is up. But the ratio would drop to 1.43, which is more than 50% down and more than 200 or 100% up, 2x up. And then the very next day, Theta falls to 3640. That's no big surprise. In fact, it could even fall lower. And then on any given day, well, GRS just happens to double. It's had a 2x move in a span of 1 to 3 days. Like, I don't know, it seems like 8 to 10 times over the past couple of years. It's just crazy. But the ratio in this case would be 357, and then let's assume a couple of weeks go by, GRS is starting to grind its losses back, and well, Theta is starting to get right back to its previous level of resistance. Opportunities like this occur more frequently than they probably should within market conditions, but when they do, it is profit city. Let's think about this first trade in here, and let's assume that it's 0503, and you have inventory at 10,000 Theta and 2,600 GRS. So the value of the Theta at this point would be 0.1663, the GRS at 0.17. You'd have about a third of a Bitcoin in value. But the next day, as we can see, the market goes up to 46.92. You'd be selling Theta and buying GRS. Simple as that. So if you own 10,000 of them, as we can see here, 10,000 Theta, then you can literally sell 60% of them given the move. And doing so, you get 0.2812 Bitcoin. And then, especially if you got nothing on your Bitcoin balance, you sell your 6,000 theta, your exchange should have, like, say on Binance, this much in there. So now you push buy, whatever the price is, 100%, which would be that same number, and you probably pick up around 41.87. So that would reduce your theta inventory to 4, and then your GRS to 67.27. So after that, what would you do the next day? Well, obviously, you'd be selling GRS and buying theta, and when the ratio does another wild move like that, you can do again another wild trade. So as an example, you sell maybe 3,127 of your GRS, not quite half, although you could do more, but not much more. And you do so at 0.4056 for return, and then you can go in and buy 11,113 and 33 theta for your troubles. So you'd have just sold 6,000 for 41, and then you sell 31 and you gain 11,000. Okay. And then 519, which would be this day here where GRS went down and theta went up. Well, let's just assume you sold 5,130 theta, and that meant you sold, considering you had 15,000, you sold about a third. And then you were able to get 2,392 GRS for the exact same price. Okay, so assuming future moves have following, and again, this is just whatever data, but last trade ratio is 214. Let's just assume theta has a huge move again, breaks resistance and goes crazy high. 14,885. GRS goes down to 8865. The ratio is now 0.5956, or the opposite end is 1679. But we're going to focus on this number from here, which is where I screwed this. No, I didn't screw this up. Here is where we sell 7,000 again of the original 10, so 70%. Not often you can do this, but when the markets make moves like this, you can. And you'd get over 1 Bitcoin. And then buying 11,730 GRS, that's what that would come up with. So this is your new inventory. Later that day, it can be like 6 hours later. It could be the next hour. Theta's at 10,445. It probably took like 3 hours, if not maybe 20 minutes, for it to have its gain. That's what they do more times than not. But let's just say that GRS is holding steady around the same price, so the ratio is 8,962. Well, if you have on the GRS side 11,730, you can afford to sell 43.22. That would get you back 36.77 theta, better than doubling you up there from 3,000. And then days and days go by enough where it's good enough to make another trade. Theta's down to 66.03. Well, GRS is down to 77.85. The ratio is 1.179. So now maybe you sell 2,700 GRS, and you're only getting 0.21 after a 1 Bitcoin trade, but the prices are worth less and you're selling less percentage ownership. 3,177 theta is what you'd buy at the same price, and there's your new inventory. And then a month goes by, decline continues. Theta's at 36.15, GRS down to 61.22, while the ratio moves up to 1.693. So this is what we'll do. The last ratio is 1179, as we can see right here. So this is some math. We'll take what the highest of the two prices are, high subtract low, divided by low. In this case, it's a 43.6% move. We'll take that number and divide it by 1 plus that number, which is equal to 0.3, which means that equals my maximum sell for purposes of not selling out. Now, of course, there's going to be situations where you have extra in the bank to do it, where you can make that number higher. And you can have situations where you want to take a chance and maybe just want to sell everything or a lot more. for what, if you're right, what would be better profitability. But that's the math that I'd like to go. So I basically like to go a little less than that number. So 25% of the ownership of GRS of 10,700 equals 2675. So I'll sell that for 0.1636 Bitcoin, which would then get me 4521 theta on the other side, which would put my inventory at this time on this hypothetical example to 14,375. And given that I started at 10,000, that's a gain of 43.75%. GRS is at a gain of 8,025, or a gain of 200%. That's 3x and about a 1.5x. So we're looking at an average of about maybe 120% up, or a 2.2x move, 2.3 in decimal. We'll get to that in a little bit because that'll be part of a formula. Okay. So let's now move on to further data. Your theta value is 0.52 Bitcoin, which is 3.12 times, or 212% higher than what your theta value was on the open. Meanwhile, theta prices in this example would have done a little bit better than double from its current price point. GRS would also be worth close to a half a Bitcoin, or up from what your GRS was worth before, 188% of its open. Theta, you were gaining a bit more than triple, bit less than triple as far as your overall net value is concerned. And really, this is going to be x multiply y, the answer in here, which would pretty much be about 3. The GRS prices fall 6.58% from then to now. So, this market lost a bit, and you almost tripled up. This market did better than double, and you did better than triple up on it. Your overall net value is 1.0113, a 100% gain from the open. Is it really just that? It was more than that. 200% gain, I think. Yeah, 200% gain, because it's 0.3367. So you tripled your move that got you to that point. That is just fantastic. Why did it keep... Okay. Alright, so anyway, when theta gets to real high prices, like when I'm talking like not only 30, 40, 50, 60,000 Satoshi, I think it's got the capabilities going into six-figure levels on the number. 100, 200, 300, 400,000 Satoshi. That is just incredible if it does. GRS, which is currently at like 6, so it gets to 12, 14, 15, 20,000 maybe. But I'm really mainly talking about theta. I think it's going to do very, very well. So I want to trade against something. And my brain says that coins like GRS is designed to move. So the profits can be 10 to 40 trades. If I can get 10 to 40 trades more after something like this, after these statistics, if I can get 10 to 40 more, and that's, say, at the point when, like it was in December, January of 2017, 2018, the amount of gains up to prime peaks could be extremely phenomenal. And really, it's rinse, repeat, make a shitload of money. Rinse, repeat, make a shitload of money. Rinse, repeat, make a shitload of money, because that's all you keep doing. Just waiting for the trades. So understand the strategy of playing ratios. Once you get it, it's really not much to it. It's understanding the mathematics. You don't need to use charts for it and all that stuff, but you might be looking, okay, well, if the last ratio was at 10 and I'm looking for a 40% move, I need to go to 14, and so on and so forth. And then on the way down, you would need it to go to like around 6.8 or whatever. It's 10 divided by 14, multiply that last trade number, because that's the equivalency of 60% or 40% down. But some math to understand is what I call the max sell size. So if you want to move a 1% move, like a 1% play, if you sell 1 divided by 1/100th of your bankroll, then you should never sell out. For the most, I mean, you're always going to be worth what you're worth every time you sell, not counting what you buy sell back for. But you're and then on a move side of 3%, and I mean, I just stay away from this because, well, one, you're basically getting 1% of your portfolio is making 1% profit. That's just not profitable. And in here, 3% of your portfolio is making about 3% profit. Now that's almost 1%. Not quite. These percentage numbers keep on getting a little lower than its number, so it's always noticeably less than your percentage move. But a 5% move, 5 divided by 105 works out to 4.76%. 10% move, a little over 9. So here, if I take 10% of my portfolio at this, then I'm making about almost 1% of a trade. So even at 10%, it's not too fun. I mean, it's all compounded. Don't get, I mean, throughout the whole way, but even still, 20%. Now we're talking about 16 and 2/3, and 20% of that is about around, well, 3.25%. And here, a 25% gain. Well, if I'm getting 25% and I'm selling 20% of that, 5%, and so on and so forth, where, say, on a 100x move, if I'm getting a 2x play for 50% of what I own, that's, well, 50%. And literally, it's 50%. And a 200% move, which is 3x, well, 2/3 of 3 times 3 is like 2 point something. But either way, and this is a random number, like 348%. If you get an amazing move like that, well, then you technically can sell 77 and 7/9 of what you got. And maybe you want to do a sellout, and again, maybe you have other factors where you can sell more because you've short sold in the past or what have you, or based on what your value of your two coins are. There's different alternate situations. But understand, to me, what I consider the risk reward. And I got to think 100 to 4,000 times gains is possible. As long as A, Bitcoin prices are cheap to intended target. And if you're talking about breaking 20,000, going to 80, 100, or a quarter million, well, then most certainly at 5,700, it's in that realm right now. Altcoin prices can't be really high, and really, quite frankly, it's the opposite where you want it. They're really down a lot compared to Bitcoin. So they have room to grow higher. And in a situation when Bitcoin goes up, that means altcoins should go up. That means volatility is just going to be massive. So if you can get 100 to 4,000 times gains, if you're starting with $25, that means making between $2,500 and $100,000. At $100, between 10,000 and 400,000. And then 10 times that and 1,000 up to 4 million, up to 40 million at 10,000. And if you're talking about playing some big coins like DGB and Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and anything of high volume, and then if you get to the point where it's $40 million and you need to make a 5-6 million trade, well, you might have to pay a lot of rake or figure out how to do OTC. But even $4 million, $6 million trade on LTC wouldn't be enough to really make that large of a move on the market, but you may move it a few percentage points. But you'd really want to know how to trade that, meaning trading it on multiple exchanges and so on and so forth. But here's that X, Y, Z to calculate those games. X is your increase in trading markets from your coins. So that example that I was doing, how many more coins do you have from before? Y is the average Satoshi gain and in decimal form. So if the markets double, then 2. If the markets go up 400%, then it's 5. If the markets lose 33% of its value, then it's 0.67, and so on and so forth. And Z is the gain of Bitcoin. How many times higher than the current price of, say, when you started, as a good example, of 5,700. But for this example, when you started. So let's just assume you outperform the market 4 times. And I'm just going to say right now, if all you do is 4 times, then you probably could have done better, or you're taking coins that are just not moving too volatile, or it happens so damn fast. To me, and even if it happens that fast, you could maybe even still do better given the volatility that would happen over, say, what would be like 150 to 100-day period. But I mean, that's probably going to take a significant period of time. Realistically, 200 to 1,000 days to get to major Bitcoin price levels. So you outperform the market 4 times, we'll say. So X is 4. Prices of coins go up 6.5 times on average for the two coins that you're talking about. And the Bitcoin prices are at, say, 97,500. Thus, Z equals 17.1. Again, we talk about this number could get to 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 100. Because if you've seen some of my buy low, sell high with 1,400 and 1,200 and even 1,000 days, making like 50, 60, 70, 80x gains on your coins. I mean, if it takes that long and they got good volatility, it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. And then the coins, maybe it might only go up 3 times or 4 times, but 6.5 at peak points. So that means for Theta, right now it's at like 1,600. So for Theta to go up 6 times, that would be like going to like 10,000. And Bitcoin at 97.5, and it could double that. And if it goes to 97.5 right now, it would be 17.1. So if we multiply 4 by 6.5 by 17.1, well, that's 444.6. When Bitcoin, and I just said this, but we'll say that, well, Bitcoin goes up, what will alts do? Some win, some may lose, and some losers may win, at least in the short term, meaning markets go up, cryptos go up. Maybe whatever shit coin that gets its ass kicked might have a 9x move, but then it just never sees those levels again. It eventually will soon go to nothing. But for you, at least from that point where you can protect your profits, that's all fine and dandy with you. They will go up and down at different points, like the examples shown at this video. And what's not uncommon when they go up fast and other coins go up, either globally or individually, especially when it's individually, the other coin going up, that is, that means the retracements just have to happen, and that can just make your ratio become even more skewed. Important to note to not take coins that are very reflected on each other's move, like gold and silver, for example. If they go up and down together like consistently, that's not a good thing. So Steam and Steam dollars, if they both have big days, or say if one of them has a big day up or down, then the other one will probably do it too. I don't want to trade those together. Volatility is the key. Coins like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, and many others don't offer that much, and waiting for 30 to 40% moves will result in the lower amount of trades when trading versus each other, or Bitcoin or the dollar. So trading Litecoin against Bitcoin, Litecoin against Ethereum, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash. I mean, it's still going to work out, and it's going to be profitable. And I definitely don't not recommend doing it. And I'm trading Litecoin and Bitcoin together. But still, it's not going to give you as much on the volatility, which is why coins like the GRS and the DGB, and you just got to presume, well, Theta, it's already had one spot where it had a 3x move in one day. It had that move where it went from back to its 1500, 1300 up to like 6500 in a handful of days, and it's pulled back to 16. So that's major volatility. So you want to look for those coins. And for the most part, almost all of the coins, generally speaking, that aren't on a top 20 market cap coin, and even some that are in the top 20, have very good volatility. When trading coins versus each other, like the coins versus GRS data, etc., that should provide enough volatility to give it enough trades per year or bull cycle to make kick-ass gains, I think. Profit from volatility. So in going back to a quote that I got from a video a few days ago, and I mean, most people are going to know who it is when you hear the name Snip. But Snip, Bitcoin Cash, don't trade it, don't mess with it, blah. Yes, it does great write-ups. Yes, it sells off good. It's all about volatility. It's good coin. But he says, I'm going all in on this coin, and I'm not going to. Can't trade that. I'll trade something else, play the game with something else. So you want to play games? Well, you kind of, need something else, but if you're going all in, you really can't trade something else because technically, all in is, I guess, one coin. That's all you have, your whole investment. But I look at as all in as something that You're not going to literally be doing. At least maybe you might be. But in figurative terms, you kind of are. In that you got a stack size, like I showed in the game, of 10,000. And you're going to take 7,000 of those 10,000 poker chips. No, I mean cryptocurrencies. And you're going to put them in the pot, baby. You're going to put them in the pot. And it's almost like you have two stacks of poker chips. And, well, in this case here, I'd be putting 6,000 of them in the pot and taking 4,187 of the other one. And you play that game. And when you look at poker tournaments, let's just assume we're talking about a big, big one. Seen at like the World Series of Poker main event, and definitely on some big online sites. You have a tournament which starts with, say, I don't know, you start off with 5,000 tournament chips. Everyone has 5,000 to start the game. Maybe the blinds start off at 20 and 40. And maybe there's 50 or 68,000 players. So we'll call it an online tournament. At 680 players remaining, you've already cashed. I mean, if you've gone to this type of stack, you're doing well. But at this time of the game, chip average is 500,000. Blinds might be at this time, I'm going to be guessing, probably about 70 big blinds in a good tournament. So we're going to be talking about maybe 4,000, 8,000 with 1,000 ante. That's the stake of the tournament at that time. But you have to keep on playing the game over and over and over again. Your 5,000 chips, you double up to 10,000. And then maybe you grind yourself, you lose a bit, you're at 8. You win a nice pot, not a whole thing, you go to 12. And then you bust somebody with 9,000, you go to 21. And then maybe you have a few wins to grind your stack up to 30. And then you double up to 60,000. And then you're short stacked at 44,000 because the tournament's later, and you double up and do better than double up to 100,000, and then you get to 2, you get to 5, and well, the final table of this tournament would be a chip average of like, well, 5 times 7, like 35 million. There'd be about a 35 million chip average because the stakes continuously get better. Now, in this game, you control the blinds and antes, or another word is you control how much of what you put in. But if you're starting a game with 5,000 and you're trading 20% of that, that means you're trading 1,000 of your tournament chips into the middle of the pot. And then later on in the game, when you've 100 extra stack and you got 500,000 of them, it's time to trade. Well, maybe you trade 100,000 of them instead. Rinse, repeat, and whatever. I forget what I wrote. Make a shitload of money, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. And if you don't understand the mathematics upon this, get a hold of somebody who actually might. Well, no. Get a hold of somebody that you know is damn smart in math. And especially, maybe you have someone, I mean, I know it's with the age and everything. It is age restricted, and I'm not going to promote that you have anyone like your son set up a fake Bugs Bunny Binance account, or at least set up an account under your name. So I'm going to refer, maybe you have an adult of legal age in college or whatever. You're like, want to give them a nice little gift and they understand it. Put maybe like 2, 3, $400 in total, or in each coin or whatever. Show them the math, and then say, hopefully, maybe they're going their first year, maybe they'll enter in their first year of school this fall. 3 years later, you should be worth quite a bit when we consider, especially when you can look back at historical data, which of course I've done a lot of on this video. So yeah, if you know somebody mathematically who could understand it, whom I would be interested in this. Now, I have a hard time on that. maybe I don't upsell my information too much, then that might be it. Because one of the references I used earlier was when I went into like an Amway type of or any MLM multi-level marketing type of meeting back in the 1990s, and I remember like one of my good friends invited me to his house in Toronto, and oh, he set up an MLM meeting. But I think it wasn't a big one. It was a small group, and it was overall fun, but not really. But they would talk and sell a high game. And then earlier, referring to Snippy, they had a someone come in called Trader Boss who got a bad reputation for multiple different reasons. I don't want to go over reasons why, but was smart. Had a lot. Was very smart. And said a lot of things in the promo videos that I resonated with me or I knew were very solid information. But the upselling was just too much for me to handle. That person was like acting like every infomercial host that I've ever heard before, including the bad acting as well. Thus, the noticeable upselling within speech. And I'm not that good at it. I mean, I don't promote my channel as far as thanks for subscribing, thanks for commenting, thanks for any gifts to my Bitcoin wallets, thanks for clicking on any advertisements. It really helps support the channel. I just don't feel like doing it, and I realize those who do, well, thank you very much and all that type of stuff. But I'm definitely not a good salesperson. Although, I mean, back in the day, I remember when I was a kid delivering newspapers, it got to the point where I could sell packages. If you buy Saturday and Sunday of the Toronto Star newspaper, they would give Monday to Friday free. This was a promotion. I will call it at the start of the 1990s. So what I do is I go all around town and I would sell it quite a bit. Then my paper route that I delivered, well, one of the first things I did is say, hey, John, Steve, Michael, Sammy, Cynthia, whoever, you currently are like one of my customers, but you have a Saturday Sunday package. What I would suggest you do is you cancel your package, and here is one you can re-sign up. Sign up for the Saturday Sunday package, and then you get Monday to Friday for free. So technically, you're going to get every day through the week for free, and it's going to cost you the same. It lasts for what it was, like 4 months or 3 months. You can cancel after that point, which a couple of them did, um, and you get the free. When it canceled, that means you cancel the Monday to Friday, go back to Saturday to Sunday. But it was one of those annoying processes where they had to literally cancel the service and then re-sign up, and it worked. But for me, I was able to one get a sale on a new customer, quote unquote, and then on my weekly commission, well, I was getting the value of a 7 day customer compared to a 2 day. And I got paid more for people that got 7 days delivery than I did for those who got two. And this video is now over 42 minutes, like a lot of my videos are. But that's just how it goes. And those who are truly serious about making a shitload of money, well, this is a lot of time. This time here is quote unquote going to be worth it, I think, for an ease to just for the end purpose goal of how many times you can gain simply by trading coin versus coin. And overall, trading coins against Bitcoin, that's still fine and dandy. It's just the volatility is it's just going to be much, much lower. And as I've been talking about, you can do both at the same time as well. In fact, when markets get to peak points, I myself am going to be selling coins against Bitcoin, waiting for pullbacks to buy back. I'm going to be selling Bitcoin for precious metals and all the other good stuff. Have yourself a great day, great weekend. Bye bye.